Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Telequarium. I'm Darren, and today we're talking about acoustics, which is, of course, involving sound, and specifically sound in the ocean. Now, we sometimes feel like there's not a lot of sound to be heard underwater, but there's actually quite a bit of sound in the ocean. And that's what we're going to be examining today. And I'm going to bring in a special guest, Lindsay here. Lindsay, you're going to be playing a game today called Name That Ocean Sound. Welcome, Lindsay.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm so excited.
So basically, Lindsay, the way this works is I will play a sound from the ocean, and you're going to just see if you can guess what made that sound. So without further ado, let's go ahead and before each sound plays, you'll see this screen. Are you ready for the first sound?
I'm ready for it.
All right, here we go. We'll pause that for a second. You got any thoughts yet, Lindsay, on what this sound might be?
I do. I feel pretty confident that I've been to the beach enough to know that that is a type of gull. I'm not sure what species, though.
Okay. And truth be told, Lindsay is a fellow educator here at the Alaska Sea Life Center. So not only does she spend time at the beach, but she also spends time here at the Alaska Sea Life Center. So I personally can recognize some of these sounds as well. But as far as which gull is which, I'm not the best. Let's listen for a few more moments and see if you can pin that down more closely, Lindsay. Any further information you want to add to your guess?
I'm just going to go with gull. I don't know.
Okay. I was thinking either gull spying on maybe rotting salmon on the beach, or the gull that's about to steal your lunch, which I suppose could be the same bird. Ugh. All right. It is indeed a gull. It is a species called a glaucous gull. It's a pretty common gull around these parts, and one that folks will be quick to recognize that it is a gull, but probably only the true birders would be able to identify which gull species they were looking at. There are quite a few different gull species in the world, several dozen, and even just here in Alaska, there are a number of them, so it can be hard to keep them straight. So I won't fault you for not knowing exactly which species of gull that was. I wouldn't have known either. All right, ready for the next sound?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Stopping before I have nightmares. What do you think that sounds to be?
I know this was supposed to be an ocean sound game, but I gotta say, Darren, that sounds a lot like a zombie apocalypse to me.
Who's to say that zombies don't come from the sea? Come on. I mean, the apocalypse could start underwater and just move on to land. It's that much scarier to think that zombies could come from the ocean. I'll let you hear a little bit more and see if you can pin that down to maybe a more realistic ocean creature. All right, what do you think?
Okay, second listen, taking away the zombies. I'm gonna guess stellar sea lion.
Very close. Stellar sea lions, zombies, about the same thing, really, right? No. Stellar sea lions, that's correct. And of course, they are the largest species of sea lion in the world. Now, a lot of people think sea lion, they think of the sort of barking noise. And a lot of sea lions do make a sound like that, notably the California sea lions, pretty common up and down the west coast of the United States. We do get California sea lions up into Alaska, maybe not quite as far as we are here. Occasionally one will take a little journey and show up in our area, but they tend to be a little farther south. But the stellar sea lions are about 4 times the size of California sea lions, much larger. And when you put a lot of them together, they're very social animals, like to gather in big groups. You put a lot of them together, it really does just sound like a zombie apocalypse. If you listen to just one large male stellar sea lion, though, this is what he would sound like. a slumber party with that. So that was a single male stellar sea lion. You put a whole bunch of them together. It sounds like a zombie apocalypse. And Lindsay, I don't know if you've had the pleasure of being out near stellar sea lion rookery when you can hear all of them together when they've got their pups out there with them. But the pups sound like little goats. So among all the big adults that are going all at the same time, there's all these little tiny pups going super fun. One of my favorite ocean experiences actually is getting close enough to hear those stellar sea lions. Very cool. All right, you ready for the next one?
I'm ready.
What do you think?
This reminds me of summers where I'd run around the pool and get in trouble, the beach lifeguards blowing their whistles.
Oh, I know. Lindsay, you definitely have the mischievous look about you. Yeah, I'm not surprised that the lifeguards were having to hound you all the time to stop you from running on the wet tile floor. Any ocean-related guesses?
I'm gonna say with confidence it's a type of bird.
Some type of bird.
Not a gull.
Okay. Let's play a little bit more. All right, what do you think?
It sounds like I've heard it in the aviary before, so I'm trying to think of birds we have in there.
Indeed, bird species, the Alaska Sea Life Center. Smaller than a bread box?
Okay. Oyster catcher?
Excellent. Yes. That is the sound of a black oyster catcher. Very good. And black oyster catchers are a type of shorebird. And they live along the shoreline, which is where those crashing waves are always going to be just pounding. And it's a very noisy environment. They tend to be on kind of rocky, gravelly areas where there's just a lot of noise from those crashing waves. And that piercing cry enables them to hear each other quite well. And they seem to love to make noise, especially when we have a group of children sleeping over here at the Alaska Sea Life Center around 4 a.m. Those black oyster catchers just really get a kick out of standing next to the window and making a bunch of noise to wake up those poor sleeping children. All right, let's see what we have next. This one is really changing a lot. There's a lot of different sounds going on in there. What do you think, Lindsay?
Aliens.
Definitely aliens. So from zombies coming out of the ocean, now we've got aliens landing in the ocean, perhaps. Let's listen to the rest of the clip and see if you might be right. No question, right at the end, the flying saucer just took.
Yeah. Just
I am right there with you. Shouldn't it be some kind of ocean sound instead of just a flying saucer? What do you think?
Darren, I am honestly not sure on this one at all.
It's a pretty bizarre sound, and one that most people would not have the chance to hear, because that's the sound of a bearded seal, believe it or not. And bearded seals live up in the Arctic. They are one of the species of ice seals here in Alaska. And so if you were diving underneath the Arctic Ocean ice, then you might hear those sounds actually echoing off of the ice. I can only imagine how amazing that must be, because I don't plan to be spending a lot of time underneath the Arctic sea ice anytime soon. But some folks, the very brave, especially trained divers who are able to dive under the ice, have indeed heard those sounds firsthand, right down in there in the ocean underneath the sea ice. I'm sure it's amazing, but it to me just sounds really, really cold. I'll take Resurrection Bay here, 40-degree water, it's not so bad diving in this water, but underneath the ice, I have a feeling might be a little too much for me. All right, you ready for the next sound?
I'm ready.
Sounds very cute, whatever it is.
Sounds like my zipper.
Oh, yeah, less cute, but you're exactly right. That's totally the sound of a zipper. Where would you find zippers in the ocean, though? What do you think?
It's a good point. Could you play it again?
Yeah, let's hear a little bit more. I've got a thought, Lindsay. Have you heard of a Furby?
Yes.
Perhaps this is the next new craze in ocean-related themed toys. And there's a zipper on the back of whatever this creature is to open it up. Maybe there's actually an off switch on this one, unlike the Furby, which was my personal terror growing up.
I agree with that.
Yeah. What do you think?
I hear some clicks in there, which makes me think it's a species of dolphin or porpoise.
Nailed it. It's a harbor porpoise. And so when you hear those separate clicking sounds, of course, that's echolocation, right? So porpoises, dolphins, and other toothed whales use echolocation to find their prey, to determine where things are in the water. And when they make those clicking sounds really fast, that's when you hear those buzzing noises that sounded like your zippers. Those fast buzzing noises, those were just still echolocation clicks, but made really, really quickly. And that's usually when the object is very close to the animal. They make the clicks faster and faster so they can get a more precise estimate of the location. All right, let's hear the next one here. This is a related animal. I'll give you a clue on this one. It was a little more than just clicking and zipper noises on that one. What kind of animal do you think we were listening to?
I am pretty confident about this one because it is one of my favorite animals. I think, is that a pod of orcas?
It is indeed. And just recently, we had quite a large group of orcas, and they were offshore orcas right here in Resurrection Bay. 80 to 100 was the estimate. The number of orcas, and the offshore orcas are ones that specialize in eating sharks. So we've got some researchers here in the local area who've been studying the different populations of orcas in our area, and they were able to get out there, collect a few samples of what the orcas were eating, and I don't know if they put a hydrophone into the water to listen to the sounds, but those offshore orcas and the resident fish-eating orcas that would be a little more commonly seen in our area both use echolocation to find their prey. I'm not sure. Did you notice any clicking noises in that sound clip, Lindsay?
Maybe a little bit, but it was a lot
listen to
louder.
a little bit more and see if we can pick it out. Indeed, right toward the end, huh?
Yeah, right at the end.
And especially, those were some very loud, sharp clicking noises, and perhaps the orcas were trying to determine the distance to something that was a little farther away than what that harbor porpoise was focusing on earlier. Good job. This is a photo of a local resident orca. This was taken back in 2003 out on one of our, out into the bay. And you can tell by that straight, tall dorsal fin that this is a male, an adult male orca. Its dorsal fin can be almost as tall as I am, believe it or not. So if I were standing on the surface of the water right next to that dorsal fin, I'd be about an equal height to that. Pretty amazing. The females have a little bit more rounded kind of curve to their dorsal fin. It's not nearly as tall as the dorsal fin of the males. Tidbit of a fun fact there. You ready for the next sound?
I'm ready.
And this one might be a little bit quiet, so let's listen carefully. Thoughts?
Sounds bubbly. But
it did sound like bubbles. Now, there are animals in the ocean that may emit gases underwater and produce bubbles. So let's see. You want to try to narrow it down? You need another bit of the sound clip?
Yeah, could you play it again?
All right, here we go. All right. What sort of creature do you think made those bubbles?
When I was really quiet, I heard, it almost sounded like a take of air. So I'm going to guess a scuba diver.
Ah, that was the clue right there. The breathing in, right? Now, this is the clip that those sounds were taken from, so I might try to trick you. Sounds were indeed made by a jelly, but you don't see any bubbles yet, right? So this place sort of pulses along gently. We have to wait to see those bubbles. So good job noting that those were bubbles being produced underwater, but then also hearing the intake of air, which is something that's very unusual underwater, right? Because there's not air for us to breathe down there. In order for us to dive, we carry the air with us, and scuba diving is a pretty incredible way to explore the ocean. Like I said earlier, here in Resurrection Bay, the water temperature might be around 40 degrees. It's chilly, tolerable when you have the right gear and the right training. Not too extreme. A lot of people think of scuba diving, they're thinking more down in the tropics, throw on maybe a thin wetsuit and get into the 80-degree water and just pretend like you're in a bathtub surrounded by Nemo fish, little clownfish things. But it's actually pretty awesome here, even in the cold water. Once you're properly equipped, cold water diving is pretty incredible. That's definitely a less soothing noise than the gentle breathing underwater. What do you think this sound was?
I'm still unsure of what is making that sound, but whatever is making that sound sounds very demanding.
Oh, very perceptive. Yeah, let's hear a little bit more. I like where you're going with that. I think you're right on there. There's definitely some urgency to whatever this thing is communicating. Any guesses what sort of animal might be expressing this demand?
Sounds like a baby. Is it like maybe a puffin chick?
Ooh, not super close. That was the sound of a sea otter pup, and perhaps that's how a sea otter pup politely asks, "Hey, Mom, could you dry off my fur a little better? I'm getting cold." Or maybe that's just the way a sea otter says, "It's really cold and my fur is wet. Where'd you go, Mom? Get back here. I need your help." It's kind of hard to interpret what animals are saying, but you may have noticed that little otter pup had a bit of a wet coat. He was around the stage where here at the Alaska Sea Life Center, we are encouraging little otter pups to learn how to take care of their own fur because it's a skill that they need to develop. And so we will leave them just a little bit damp so that encourages that instinct to kick in. By the time those sea otters are about 6 months old, they're completely capable of taking care of themselves. We do need to encourage those instincts to allow those animals to develop their natural ability to take care of their fur. The fur on a sea otter is actually the only thing that keeps it warm. It traps a layer of air around its body. They don't have blubber like other marine mammals, and so grooming that fur is critical. Without that sea otter pup, without the pup's mom, the pup cannot survive on its own at all. And so that was one of the pups admitted to our marine mammal rescue program over the years. And we have to do a lot of hands-on care, taking care of that fur for them until they get old enough to take care of it themselves. And unfortunately, we're not able to release them back out into the wild, but we can find them a good permanent home at another zoo or aquarium, and those otters can become excellent educational animals and ambassadors for their species out there in the wild. All right, we've got one more sound. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Here we go. What'd you think about that one?
I think I know this one. It first off reminds me of Finding Nemo when Dory's trying to speak whale.
Oh, yes. Very good.
And it's one of my favorite animals as well, once again. I think it's a humpback whale, my guess.
Yes, it is a humpback whale. Love that kind of eerie echo. This was a photo of a humpback whale calf, and we had the pleasure of just watching it leap into the air over and over again while its mom was and we were enjoying a lunch break out there on the vessel. Got to watch that calf, and happened enough times that I was able to get a fantastic photo of the calf jumping out of the water. These are some of our really well-known inhabitants here in the oceans around Alaska, these parts. Humpback whales are very popular, especially because of displays like this one. They tend to be pretty showy animals, a little bit social, and so they're a real popular target species for folks who want to come and get pictures and just experience being close to these animals. It's pretty incredible. Well, Lindsay, you did a fabulous job of guessing my ocean sounds today. Hope you had a great time, did you?
Yeah, that was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
And some of those sounds were a little bit unexpected. But the ocean, being largely unexplored, has all sorts of surprises for us. So thanks again for playing today. Those of you at home, thanks for joining us, and hope you enjoyed learning about all these ocean sounds. And if you get the chance to get out there and explore the ocean yourself, please do in your own special way, whether it's walking along the shoreline or taking a trip out off the ocean, or even getting underwater all by yourself. So until we meet again, thanks a lot, and take care. Bye-bye.